Colonel John Robertson had asked me on one occasion to create an image for his wife. And so I made a caricature. And I never finished the piece as a result of some things that were transpiring in terms of his intent to move away. But the police used my art to try to criminalize me and my work. I had drawn another picture for him of a dentist that he went to have some work done on his teeth. Dr. John Scuba, he came in and told me that he and Dr. Scuba were special ops in the military and that he wanted to do something unique for him to say thank you for the work that he was going to do on his teeth, and to also maybe pitch a line because I needed to find some people who could help me with my oral care after an injustice from a couple of years earlier where I received some oral trauma myself. And so I drew up this great picture of this dentist to try to introduce myself and to also help Colonel say thank you for whatever he was getting done. He paid $10,000 in cash to get the whole side of his mouth restored with Dr. Scuba. And the character that I did of he and his wife, I never completed it. But I did give him a graphic that I had of some marine life from Florida for his birthday. A bunch of different kinds of fish that people eat and fish for in the ocean. And so when they were investigating him, I am certain that they found my art. I am certain that they found my fingerprints on that art, and I am certain that they probably put it in some place with whatever they collected as evidence. You can use somebody's art or creations to criminalize them, to justify a false investigation. And Randy Long, based upon what I saw him doing, following me around town, might be responsible for doing something like that. And I don't know what he was or was not doing, but I know he was making it his business to track me around town. I know that Charlie Rowe, before he upped and involuntarily retired at a time that was not as public as some would have thought it would be with the time that he had in office, I know he had some knowledge of the fact that that case was open and several other cases were open and pending. And so on several occasions, it would turn out that some of my art was associated to major cases, including a quick study that I did of Steve Toms before he was murdered. They led everybody to believe they had no idea who murdered Mr. Toms. They led people to believe that there was no clue whatsoever of what could have happened to him, and we would find out when we got to trial that everybody had been misled. And so on several occasions, my art was ending up in these situations that would be associated with people who were involved with some form or degree of crime. And so what do you do when people are using racist motivation to take something that had nothing negative about it to implicate you in crime, to turn people against you as a way to eliminate economic competition in creativity? Well, this was what was going on in Columbus, Georgia, exactly. And who thinks that something like that would be transpiring in the first place? Well, it was. When I went through the oral trauma, it was a situation where a irate motorist did what we see very common in Columbus, Georgia with this vehicular violence, ran into me when I was on my bike, and it damaged several of my teeth. And The officer that came in was focused on me. Like they were trying to find a way to go after me, but they had to have a justification for the contact. Well, they gave me several tickets and made it appear that after I was the one that was hit, that it was me who was at fault for running into a car. They falsified the accident report and the police report. They gave the guy a disorderly conduct ticket on the spot. Well, it would turn out I was unemployed. I didn't even have enough money to pay for the tickets. And they came into one of my storage facilities in the middle of the night with about 9 or 10 police officers and arrested me in the middle of the night with a police issued .45 pointed at my face and took me to the county jail and made me stay in that jail to pay for money for being hit. And they were going to cover it all up. And I documented it. And I did a piece of art when I went through that experience. So they can't make those files disappear. They can't hide them. They can't deny it or dispute it because art is a cultural record. And so on numerous occasions, they were trying to criminalize my art to be able to criminalize me and write some type of sick storyline around it to turn your art from being something that's a cultural asset into being something they can use as evidence to take your liberty away from you. And that's the kind of awful stuff that was going on here in Columbus, Georgia from the onset. They were trying to disengage the freedom associated with African American artists, particularly men.